Morning, Market Chameleon. Sorry about the late start. We're starting almost right at 9. Dimitri's about to come on. We got a late start today, I'm sorry about that. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you, Will?
Great. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We got quite a few on YouTube Live, D. If you're on YouTube Live for the first time, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get all the new videos. You'll get notified right away. And when we go live in situations like this, our morning show, you'll get notified right away. And thumbs up are always appreciated. D, do you want to start with the disclaimer?
Yep. Good morning, everybody. So before we start, keep in mind, Will and I, Market Chameleon, we're not registered investment advisors. We're not broker dealers. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need professional help, contact your registered investment advisor or call your broker. They should be able to help answer your questions. They should be able to guide you. So there's the disclaimer, everyone. And with that, I guess let's get started. So I'm going to jump in and share my screen right now.
Awesome. What are you seeing this morning?
And let me just really quickly, hold on. I got some background noise.
No worries.
The window open. So let's start out looking, seeing what's going on in the pre-market hours, what's moving today. I think then there's a couple stocks. Well, you said you wanted to mention, and we'll see. And I'm going to jump back to the call spread screener today, and just the single call. So I think that we'll concentrate on those reports today. So these are the stocks that are moving in the pre-market hours. We got the most active stocks, the biggest percentage gainers, biggest percentage decliners. I'm going to screen really quickly and see if anything's going on in the higher market cap stocks. So I'm going to use this filter here, look for stocks that are 20 billion market cap or higher. So we see here IBM up today, 10%. That's a big jump for IBM. And what do you know what the move was? They're spinning. They're having a spin-off. Is that correct?
That's the word on the street. I don't know exactly what's going on in IBM, no.
Right. So that's trading 1.6 million shares today in the pre-market hours, up 10%. That's a really big move for IBM. REGN, that's that biotech stock that's producing some COVID-related therapies. So we've been seeing that pop up here a couple times now in a pre-market.
Well, I know, I think both REGN and I see Lilly down there. I think they're both trying to get rush approval on a couple of therapies. And obviously we're going into the season where everyone's worried about whether it's a second or third spike. So these therapies are going to be a big deal, obviously, if they can get them to market. So
yeah, so we know that they're pushing really hard to rush those in. So see that one's up. Eli Lilly right here, that's up 2% today. They mentioned Roku up 4%, and that's been doing pretty. Let me just take a look at this Roku up. That's a new 52-week high, up 4.2% in the morning. Right now, yesterday it was up 3.8%. So that stock really taking off. And you said that there's some news on Disney.
Well, there was news on Disney. Dan Loeb, who's he's constantly out there trying to shake the trees of businesses he thinks are undervalued. He gets ownership and then becomes an activist investor. He sent a letter to the Disney board that Disney should absolutely cut its dividend going forward and use all available capital to invest in their Disney Plus. So in content, basically. So they can.
So they want to concentrate more money on that streaming service, right?
Yeah, he thinks the streaming service should be more valuable than Netflix streaming service. So.
Yeah. So I see, Roku's going up. I think Netflix going on. Netflix is going to come up with earnings. So maybe, so there is money flowing into that sector. Maybe they're looking, investors also, are they like a potential takeover candidate? Maybe, Roku, who knows?
For sure.
Roku, Netflix, yes. So keep an eye out on that, but that's been going up, quite nicely. I think I remember one big investor who from either like Citadel or System took a big stake in it when, during that big downturn. I have to go look at those insider trades, but so that's Roku. I don't know what this stock is actually. software technology, Unity software, up 2.7%, up 7% yesterday. Not sure. Now Tesla's up 2.9%. So these are stocks that are moving in. Yep.
To be honest, I'm more interested how the hell they ever got the symbol U. It seems like a one symbol stock would be super valuable. In all these years, the fact that because I've never even seen that symbol before, so that's interesting. But sorry to digress.
Like they've been around for a while to get just that symbol. But so let's take a look at the unfiltered report really quickly. So I see here, this one just popped up, small cap stock up 120% AGE. Let's see, that's a $31.8 million market cap stock.
Let me guess, batteries, solar.
Let's take a look. Yeah, let's see what they do. That's a big move here. So this one's in the biotech. So we see a lot of those biotechs, that get these big pushes. Let's see. So there is some news out there in the morning. Here's what the pre-market chart looks like. So we see news came out, boom, big spike up, kind of starting to settle right around there. But we see here closed at 84 cents. This is the 52-week range, 67 cents, $2.24. It's trading at $1.81. Pre-market hours, that's up 114%. Here, VWAP in a pre-market, $1.71. Pretty big range in a pre-market, $1.08 to $1.98. Again, very small cap stock, very volatile. Traded 11.6 million shares in the pre-market hours. That's compared to a float of 21.2 million. So on a relative basis, a lot of volume trading in that stock. As long as we're on here, let's take a look at its gap history, see what it's done in the past. So this is looking in the last 3 years, the 12 largest gap moves to the upside. And we see here the dates of the moves, the percentage of the moves. So we see on average, of the 12 largest gap moves, average 10.8%. I see a high here of 18.1% on June 9th. So obviously here, nothing like we're seeing today, 114%. Again, there's some news behind this move. I'm gonna let you guys go read that news and interpret it and see if it's justified or not. But a lot of volume trading. Historically, this is what the stock tended to do after opening to the upside. That the average move from the open to the high was 1.4%. We see that these zeros, what they're saying is that opening price when it gapped was the high of the day, tended to drift lower from that opening price. From the average move from the opening price to the low of the day was 11%. The average move from the open to the close of the day was a loss of 7.3%. And it looks like here, at least from a historical perspective, after the open, it tended to get weak and sell off. Again, though, we've never seen anything like 114%. So whatever, read the news, make sure whatever it is, you take that into account. So let's take a look at, actually, we had a little bit of a late start. So let's take a look really quickly. I did see some interesting stuff, I think, in the unusual option volume. Let me just take a look here. So this is the unusual option volume report. I'm going to sort this by the calls, the highest call notional that traded. I see Netflix, we're talking about like Roku and like the streaming service. Disney getting into it. That was up 5.7% yesterday. Traded 1.9 times its average daily option volume. October 20th, they're expecting to announce earnings. We see $243 million worth of calls trading versus $47.5 million worth of puts trading. I also see here Verizon and AT&T actually made the list, and that's new. I think that they were actually not participating as much in this rally. I mean, you can see here Verizon's not that bad. It's near its 52-week high. AT&T, over here near its 52-week low. They start, but they kind of popped up here. And do they think from like this hype in 5G technology, how do they look from that perspective?
Could be. I know Verizon's been talking about it a lot and running ads about it. So I'm under that assumption, based on ads I've seen, I would say Verizon probably play, and it's probably why it's new. It's 52-week high. AT&T,
Right.
I'm not as sure, but obviously they do have a cellular. I mean, listen, this could, if this 5G is as good as some people say, everyone could go out and get a new phone, right, in the next year.
Yeah.
The way people change phones anyways is incredible. But, so
Yeah,
much
they'll
is
do it
done.
through their cell, right? Like you would go to your like Verizon or AT&T store, try to get like a deal and buy it through them if you can. So maybe they stand to benefit from this, 5G. And there's an event coming up. Apple's, right? Is Apple
The
coming up
the
with a new
13th,
event?
I think it is.
The 13th?
Apple has a special basically an Apple presentation on the 13th, and there are a lot of rumors, which I'm sure are coming from Apple, that they're going to show all the spectacular features of their new 5G phone. So,
all right, yeah. So we'll see. Like, we'll see if there's like at least a buildup in positions heading into that event. Obviously, if Apple benefits, there's a lot of suppliers of Apple, or through the economy, other businesses will probably benefit as well.
I do see a REIT popping up there, that Simon Property Group under Verizon. Now,
right.
those were the stocks I was talking about. There was a big article in the Journal today about the largest actually individual owners of single family homes in the US. And there are two of them that happen to be, well, three were mentioned in the article, but two of them happen to be publicly traded REITs. And it's interesting. They're on a spending spree right now in this coronavirus, because as we've all read, like, people are running to the suburbs, right? Now, these companies came into being during the last financial crisis. All those homes that were being sold in Florida, Vegas, parts of California that had been built as spec homes, or people had been, no information mortgages, all those things that were going on that were driving home building. These people came, there were groups of investors came in and bought up, I don't know if it was millions, but hundreds of thousands of homes, and are now renting them. So they're the biggest renters of single family homes. But it's interesting that a REIT popped up on the most active.
Yeah, so I'm reading about this Simon Group. They own that now. They're not. I don't know if they have single family homes, but at least according
to they're strictly, I think, commercial and malls. They're a large commercial property owner.
So the malls have been hurting. Obviously they've been hurting. So this one, way off its 52-week high. But maybe it's going to start, returning if they start reopening some of the. Are the malls open? Actually, I think the malls are starting to open.
It's market dependent. I think in New York City, it's still hard to go into an indoor shopping center, but I think in the South, a lot of those malls never even closed.
Right. So and I know that that REIT sector has not been doing really well. Like, here's the REIT sector. Let's take a look at that real estate sector really quickly. So here you go, 52-week high at 100, trading at 82.7. That's right now paying a yield of 3%.
So what you're looking at is an ETF now that owns.
They own a bunch of real REITs, right?
Yep.
It's a real estate investment trust, owns a bunch of REITs. So that's off. Let me just take a look. Let's take a look at the chart just to compare, 1 year versus the overall market. And here, let's just take a look versus SPY. So you could see here, well below like the rest of the market. And obviously that market's been pulled up a lot by like technology and other sectors that weren't hit as hard because of that coronavirus. But you looked at which one, the two that were mentioned in the Wall Street?
Yeah, well, I haven't done a search yet, but I wanted to see if we could search to see if they show up in our REIT screener. So if you go, I think search by maybe subcategory. If you go into search and type in single family.
Let's take a look at single single family.
Yep. So there they
The
are.
single family, so these two, IVH, AMH, looks like they're, well, they're well off their 52-week lows over here. They're actually near their 52-week highs. Here's the dividend yield. So this one's not, low dividend yields, but again, those single family homes actually are doing pretty well, even through this coronavirus, right? So interest rates are low, mortgage rates are low. You don't see the single family housing like taking a hit. At least I don't see it here in Northeast. Actually, like if anywhere I see condominiums, they might be sitting around, because I know people in the real estate. So the condos are harder to sell, but the single family homes, even in a city like Philadelphia, they've been taking off. But I think just because of the corona, you have to use elevators, and you have like a community, the condos are harder.
Yeah, well, I know we have Jen Welsh on the show today. She's on the chat quite a bit and a big chameleon. And she is our go-to realtor in Boise, Idaho. And she said numerous times on the chat that they're getting a flood of people who are coming out to Boise looking for second homes, looking to move permanently there. I mean, it's obviously a beautiful Western city in the sits, I think, in the Rockies. She's probably going to correct me what mountain range she's in, but and that's going on across the country, right? People are looking for second homes, first homes, looking to kind of get away from urban markets. At least that's how it feels from the news and the stories you read.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have here, in the Northeast, we have the Poconos, which are the mountains, and that's mostly second homes, I think. Like they have community. I mean, people live up there, but a lot of people just go there as second homes. And I heard that actually is like, and they have a lot of land there.
It's sat. The Poconos has sat still for 35 years.
Yeah, and now
it's the price moved from like everything was $100,000 and below, and now things have doubled, but it's still a $200,000 home where you can't get a storage unit in Manhattan for $200,000. There's nothing available.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you, like people are a little bit more nervous, traveling, so they're just buying second homes. But I was looking yesterday, with my wife, we're like, well, maybe we should travel, within the United States. Maybe let's take a look. And I'll tell you, like if you were going to go from the East Coast to the West Coast or any way around, like you're going to right now, you could fly first class, best seats we're pricing, and they're like half the price of what coach was, right before the coronavirus.
And my brother flew from my brother just flew up from Costa Rica, and it was a couple $100.
Yeah. I heard people flying to Florida for like, $7 or something like that.
If you're willing to get on a plane and
if you're willing to get on a plane, and go, I don't know if you already had the coronavirus, can you go then? Are you like,
you're asking the wrong guy. I can barely trade every day, let alone make medical decisions.
All right. Let's go right now to the long calls. We veered off today. Usually we don't do this. So let's take a look at the long call screener. And so this screener is just looking from the perspective of, buying a call, seeing like if there's an opportunity to buy a call, with the obviously your expectation or outlook is that the stock's going to increase or rise. So this screener, it's new. What I'm going to do first, let's just take a look at calls. I started already like saving some of my filters. So I'm going to do best by win rate. So this, I'm looking for calls with positive theoretical edge and the highest win rate if it has a positive theoretical edge. So here, came up with 4 in Apple. This is also, these are going to be covering earnings. So earnings is coming up on October 29th. These are October 30th.
Yep, they'll also be covering the Apple event on the 13th.
So two potential events it's covering. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this one. So this is a 70 delta call. So it's the 109, October 30th, 109 call. That option closed at $9. Theoretically, we think it's worth $13.40 41 cents based on those historical, historical stock behavior. That's giving it a edge of 49% with a historical win rate of 87.5%. Let's take a look. Here's Microsoft. This is also filtering out some earnings plays. So let's take a look. October 23rd. So this earnings, I don't think we have it confirmed, but this could cover the earnings event. I'll take a look, but this is looking at the 200 call, October 23rd, 200 call. That closed at $12.15. We think it's worth $16.19. That's a 33% edge with a 75% historical win rate. Let me see, Amazon, you know what, let me filter this down a little bit further. Let's give it at least 10% edge. Let's see what that does. Okay, so that filtered it down a little bit more. Let's see if we could find a few that do not have earnings. So I'm going to say earnings are after expiration. All right, so this is before earnings. So this is filtering out expirations prior to earnings. So Amazon here filtered out the October 9th expiration. That's tomorrow. It's looking at the 3,130 call. It's even hard to say. It's such a big number. That option is closed at $77.05. We think it's worth $92.12. That's a 19.6% theoretical edge with a historical win rate almost 56%. Google, there's some news on Google, right?
Well, Google's being sued by Oracle, actually, and it's in front of the Supreme Court. So, yeah, no, Oracle has patents, I guess, on how APIs are structured. And don't ask me any more than that. But they're suing Google, and basically they could sue just about everyone. Like everyone uses APIs, right?
Right.
So if they're able to win this lawsuit against Google, then it opens up a floodgate for, you know, the revenues for people who use APIs to transmit data. Basically, they all work off something that Oracle has patented, I guess, previously.
Okay. All right. Well, so that could be a big deal for Oracle if they're able to win this lawsuit. Basically, then you're looking at other companies will just settle or pay them or whatever.
Yes.
Because of that precedent. All right, let's take a look. You know what? Let me filter this down a little bit further, and let's do it by delta because a lot of these are in the money. So let's do a delta of below 60. Okay, so these will be closer to at the money or out of the money. All right, so here's a new one in Apple that's looking at the October 23rd call, the 114 call. So that's $1 in the money. Looking at the that option closed at $4.70. We think it's worth $5.42. That's a 15% edge with a historical win rate 48.5 and probability of touch 75%. Microsoft, that's looking at October 16th expiration, the 210 call right at the money. That option closed at $3.50. We think it's worth $4.51. That's giving you a 28.8% theoretical edge with a historical win rate of 41.3%. Amazon, I think we looked at that one. Google, looking at the October 9th, 1,455 strike. That option closed at $16.10. We think it's worth $18.24 theoretical value. That's giving you a 13.3% edge with a 44.5% theoretical win rate. Let's do Baba and Facebook, and then I'm going to change that screen a little bit. So Alibaba, looking at October 9th expiration. So these are expiring tomorrow, you know, very short term. Looking at the 295 call, that option closed at $3.60. We think it's worth $4.87. That gives you a theoretical edge of 35.3% with a historical win rate of 41.8%. Probability of touch, 68.6%. Facebook, October 23rd, it's looking at the 255 call. That option closed at $9.90. We think it's worth theoretically $11.82 theoretical value, given the theoretical edge of 19.4% and a historical theoretical win rate 51.5%. Obviously, there's a couple more going down. Let's screen for maybe calls with unusual option volume. So I'm going to clear all these for now. I'm going to clear these. I'm just going to set this filter to any option that is expiring within the next 30 days. So right now, you know, that's the only filter I have. So let's take a look at yesterday, where the volume on that particular option had to be at least 1,000 contracts or more. So something basically that was trading yesterday. And on a relative basis, let's make sure that, you know, because obviously 1,000 contracts in SPY is like nothing. So on a relative basis, the volume on that option had to be at least, let's do 30% or more of the average daily option volume in that underlying. So this way, on a relative basis, you know, it had to be pretty active. So we see here, BHP, that was up 3% yesterday. It traded 2,000 contracts yesterday on the October 16th 52.5 call. That represents 120% of the average daily option volume in BHP. So that option closed at 75 cents yesterday. We think it's worth 113. So that's a 51% theoretical edge. NEE, I think that's an energy stock. Let me take a look. Yeah, so that's utilities, electrical utilities. So those electrical utilities also have been doing a little bit better, right? We saw Duke coming up a couple times, but NEE up 2.4% yesterday. That the October 16th 300 call, which is close to at the money, traded 1,618 contracts yesterday. That represents 40% of the average daily option volume in NEE. That option closed at $4. We think it's worth theoretically $4.21, given a theoretical edge of 5.3%, historical win rate of 30.2. Let me see, Lynn, that might be also an energy. Forget what that one is. Specialty chemicals. Okay, basic materials, specialty chemicals. It was up 3% yesterday. Here, that the October 16th 240 call traded 3,600 options on that line. That represented 320% of the average daily option volume here, and that implied volatility on that line was down 5.8%. Well, here's Duke. So I just mentioned Duke. That was up a little bit yesterday, 0.6%. It looks like the October 16th 95 call, so a little bit less than $4 out of the money. Stock's 91.35. That traded 2,104 contracts yesterday, representing 51% of the average daily option volume. That option closed at 55 cents. Theoretically, based on the historical return distribution, we think it's worth 31 cents. So that's a little above that theoretical value or those historical averages. So that's really quickly. Let me sort this by percent, actually.
Hey, D, just an FYI, we're coming up. We've got about 2 minutes left. Just an FYI.
Oh, okay. Do you have any questions that popped up?
Well, no, just keep going. Well, we have one question, and it's one of our, favorite chameleons. She's on every morning, but she was asking about seasonal plays going into the holidays. She's mentioning Christmas is coming up. People were talking about Amazon. I guess it could be Apple as well. FedEx, UPS.
So season, let me take a look really quickly. So I'm going to go, let's go to the event-driven screener. And what we could do is pick a holiday. Which holiday? Christmas, Thanksgiving?
Yep. Christmas.
So let's say, Christmas is still 55 days away.
All right, we'll do Thanksgiving.
So let's see. You want to do Thanksgiving first? let's do Thanksgiving. So let's see if around Thanksgiving, let's see in last 12 years, let's see like a 70% win rate. I'm going to set their average return. Let's just do any positive and any positive. Average return, median return. So we see here A, what's that?
Well, what's the total number of things that show up there at the bottom? What's it say?
So this is still a lot. So let's take a look.
You know what? We only got about 30 seconds left. We're actually coming up on that. Why don't we do this?
Let's leave it
tomorrow.
till tomorrow.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So we'll see what's going, but I do see really quickly Apple coming up, you know, so Apple around Thanksgiving, you know, we do see 75% win rate, average return 2.3%. 9:30, guys. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll let you go trade.
Awesome job, Dima. Thanks for joining us, Chameleons. Listen, I put out an email out there. Anyone who wants Jake's checklist, there were a bunch of people asking about it, using it. Really cool that the Chameleons are using it. Great job, Jake. And thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, D.
Yep. Bye, guys.